So this is something that I've had for years now, probably 5, if not 6 years, is a manual camera slider that videographers use to get those those rolling shots. Just something different to move the camera consistently and just to add a little bit more creativity to your photo or video. So you can use it for your video stuff and maybe time lapses, etc. Follow focusing. I mean, pretty much whatever camera slider does. But there come certain limitations. This is obviously just a manual one where you unlock it and you control by hand how fast, slow, or consistent that it is. But that's the problem, consistency. So I've had that slider for a while. I don't use it a ton because I don't have the steadiest hands in the world. I didn't want to invest a lot into a slider until more recently. And I don't know, it felt more of a burden to try and use to get something consistent. It just come out kind of shaky or rocky, or it just took a lot more time than it should. So around the time I was looking for something that gave more consistently, so something that was motorized, something that was still portable as well. It wasn't some huge one that cost thousands of dollars. I kind of got lucky. Zeapon reached out to me. They make a motorized slider that I'll show you in a second. And they said, hey, we have one called the Motorized Micro 2, and it comes with this low profile adapter that pretty much should partner together. Check it out. So, transparency here, Zeapon did not pay me at all. They did not compensate me, but they did send this Motorized Micro 2 slider over for review, and I'm just sharing my thoughts. And just, overall on the front, regardless of whatever, it is super easy to use, super easy to set up. It's actually kind of portable for what it is, and it really doesn't have any cons. There's two that I'll mention a little bit, but other than that, it's really, really worth it for the price, which is only $400. So this slider right here, the Zeapon Motorized Micro 2, once again, it comes with a motor. It's smaller than this box. It's right here. Boom. This little guy right here, for what it is, it has a little bit of weight to it, but it is super user-friendly and easy to use. Now, the one thing that I will say that it needs is to be able to power through a wall outlet, which this is not able to. Obviously, this is meant to be more portable, smaller, more of a lower profile, but you have to use certain batteries, like these small NP batteries. I have the NPF 550, then there's the 700, which has more capacity, and the 900, etc. So you do have to have certain batteries for these, but other than that, which you can get for under $100, you get this bad boy right here, the Motorized Micro 2, for $400. Once again, ease of use. This has an app that's very easy to use, user-friendly, which I'll show you in part of the demos. It's really nice. Another product that I mentioned is their Easy Lock 2, their low-profile kind of stand right here. And it's just this little guy. It has little legs that come out to the side, these little feet that come out, and boom. So you could set that up, legs down. But my best recommendation for this, and even what Zeapon says as well, is pretty much just have it married to the slider itself. So that way it's easier to mount and take off on the go onto a tripod, and you really don't have to worry about taking on and off a tripod mount or a shoe or anything, because it's, it's really all in one. And the fact that this folds down into something so small, kind of like a Mavic Air or something very small, you could pretty much put it in the bag that comes with the Micro, and you're good to go. So while this Easy Lock 2 is great, it's super easy to use. There's a little lever that unleashes the tripod mount right here, which you can put it into, and it's just got a little thumb screw you can screw in to the bottom of the Motorized Micro 2. The important thing to mention here is that this is specialized in regards to how it can screw to that. It has a little cutout here that's got to match up to that, so that's how you know that this can only really be used to go with that. So besides the battery, even on the lower end of 550 that I'm using, I'm getting very, very good battery life out of this. I've used this probably about 5 times now, roughly over an hour a piece. And the battery's still not dead. It's probably almost dead actually, but I'm getting some very, very good times with this. And the cool thing is, this is a very safe, thing to use as well, because I'll turn it on. It's powering up right here, the power button on the side. I have to put this back to the center because you can actually have a box right here on the side that, save it from being able to slide around or do anything, even though everything's pretty tight as it is. But if you're using this, make sure you press in both sides so that it unlocks, or else you're going to really stress the motors and the gear and everything in here. So make sure that's unlocked before you're using. Once again, I'm talking about simplicity with this guy right here. Up top, you have your forward and backwards button. Forward, backwards, easy to go. On the other side, that's your battery mount. And in the front right here, it's really just one button. You have your power button, which is right here. And then I'll show you kind of closer. You can use the power button to hold it in to power it off. If you tap it, it's the speed change. This is 3 different speeds: slow, medium, and fast. It's very quiet for the most part, especially when you're on slow and medium. You don't really hear it at all. You hear it a little bit moving around. It is audible, but it's not that bad. I probably wouldn't use it in a take necessarily. It'd be very, very good for B-roll, but fast is a little bit loud, but it's still less than what I've seen on other sliders. Once again, the perk with using something like this is that it's a consistent movement. I press a button, I don't have to worry about changing my stability, using a breathing technique to try and get it. It's going to be mounted on something, on the low profile thing, on a tripod. I click it in, and it's going to do it, and I don't have to worry about a thing, which is the point of owning something like this. You're getting consistency and something you can trust. Another thing that I really like is it's very easy to use in regards to the app that's on your phone, both Android and iOS. There's actually a barcode on the back right here that you can scan to go directly to it, or search in the App Store or the Google Play or wherever you're getting it from to download the Zeapon Lab app. It's set up by Bluetooth. Turn your Bluetooth on, turn your slider on. It'll show up, as I'll show in some B-roll. You really only control it through the top half, that top, so it's kind of like in a quadrant of circles. If you think of the whole thing as a circle, you use the top half of the circle to go left and right, and that controls forward and backward, as you can see, and as it kind of looks. And the importance of that is that, once again, you have something consistent. You still do have to set the speed on the slider though, so I think that's something that they could improve with something like that. They could include the speed right onto here, and that would communicate a bit better, but that is something minor. But the big capability that I like, that, you know, something that takes your ease off of it, is loop and memory, and you could set your path. So the one thing I'll show you is I'm going to take the slider all the way back towards the left side, and I'm going to hit 1, and that will be my starting point where I want the movement to start. So then I'm going to take it to the second movement point, going forward, and I'm going to hit 2, and that's the second mark that I hit. And then, you know, if I go forward from there, 3, 4, etc. But the cool part is you can loop it. That little button on the left is loop. So that way it will continuously do the movement. So go from 1 to 2, stop gracefully, and kind of go back and forth if you wanted to do that just by hitting play. Or you can have it do the movement once, just don't hit the button. Once again, super user-friendly to use. And if you want to cancel one of your waypoints or your checkpoints, just say hold in number 3. It says confirm the cancel. You confirm it right there. You cancel it, and then you're just left with your 1 and 2. So once again, very easy to use. They're still looking to develop the app and stuff a lot more, especially in regards to time lapse. But if you put this thing on slow and you do your 1 point all the way as far can, backwards, and then your second point forward, you're going to get a nice smooth movement on a longer time lapse. And once again, you can even repeat that movement, all depending on the look you're going for as well, or just have it steady and just do very, very slight movement. And the cool thing is it even shows you the time of your movement that it would take. So 12 seconds, 20 seconds, etc. All depending on how many waypoints and how complicated you want to get. But easy to use product, easy to use app, which could still develop a lot more. So all in all, once again, this is about $400. I'll even link it down below. It is an affiliate link through Amazon, so it costs you nothing extra. And if you want to pick it out or check it up, just look into it from there. It's $400. If you want the Easy Lock 2, there might be a bundle there, but I think that's another $70 or so to do with it. But yet again, married to this, it works very well. And I really like the size of this because it still is portable. It's still just this big. Fits right into a bag pretty easily. The only one thing I really wanted from this, like I mentioned, is that it needs a wall adapter as well, not just relying on a battery. Because actually, when they first got this, I didn't have a battery. I had to wait a little bit, and because of everything going on in the world, shipping took a little bit longer to get a battery. But still, batteries aren't too expensive, but it might be an additional cost if you need that. I do highly recommend the Zeapon Motorized Micro 2. I know they did have a manual version, and I think you can actually take the motor off and you got to unhook it and stuff like that, and you can use it more manually, but that kind of defeats the purpose. So definitely recommend checking it out. Once again, they did not pay me for it. If I didn't like it, I'll tell you about it, because they said, hey, here's this, let us know what you think. And once again, the only adjustment I think is that it needs a wall adapter. But other than that, very good.